and welcome again to another episode of RTO Doctor's 30 Days, 30 Tips. I wanted to talk to you tonight a little bit about getting your house in order, and also I wanted to apologize for not being live. I had some unexpected circumstances arise and I was not up to doing the filming. So apologies for that. But let's get right into tonight's tip, getting your house in order. And let's see whether it's something that's going to keep you excited or whether it's something that's going to just drown you out and say, oh, give me another day. After all, it is Sunday and we've got to look forward to the week ahead. So what I wanted to start with was getting your house in order is one of the most fun times in my experience. It's one of the most fun times, and whether you've been in hibernation or whether you've been conducting your business as normal throughout COVID over the last 18 months, it can be an exciting time to just go back and contemplate, did it change you? Did COVID change you, or did hibernation change you? Has it changed the product and service that you are offering? Is your desire to be an RTO still the same, or has that wavered a little bit? Has it increased? Has it decreased? How do you feel about being an RTO in the world today? And when I talk about getting your house in order, I really think it's a great opportunity to just go back to basics. When you first wanted to become an RTO, of course, is that what you ended up creating? Many people start off with a business and they just want to leave a legacy and do some training, and it's not necessarily that they wanted to become an RTO, but they may have been forced into becoming an RTO. Reasons behind that forced becoming an RTO usually involve that the provider was looking for funding and the funding contract required them to be an RTO, for example, or they wanted to deliver some sort of product or service, but the only way they could do it was if they were a registered training organisation. So is that what you ended up creating, and is it still a reason that's going to get you out of bed on a Monday morning? What was good or bad about it? What did you enjoy doing, and what do you hate about doing it? I know for me there are certain aspects of RTO Doctor that I absolutely hate and will never get me out of bed on a Monday morning. But then there are other aspects of the work that I do as RTO Doctor, and it gets me so excited I can stay up all night and I can really get into the work and pull an all-nighter, keep going the next day, and I'm just excited. And I just love doing my job in those moments. And I wonder if there are some moments like that for you still. You would have likely had a business plan. Did you implement that business plan, or did you have something different? Is what actually you finished with what you anticipated in your business plan, or was it something completely different? What's important to you? Does the business plan and your business still align with who you are and what you represent? What do you value? What's important to you? What makes you go to work every day? Because if you can't answer those questions, you're going to hate your RTO. And that's the same whether you're just coming out of COVID after hibernation. In fact, it's probably even harder if you're coming out of hibernation, if you've got no good reason other than the fact that you've got to open the doors, otherwise you're going to lose the house. That's not really something that's going to keep you happy and committed and motivated to return to work every day. What was it that you originally started with that was your burn, your reason? Why did you want to become an RTO, or why did you want to leave a legacy? What was it that you love doing so bad, and are you so far away from that you no longer recognize what you're doing? Or is it that you are actually doing that every day, and every day is just a wonderful experience and you're blessed and you've got nothing to complain about? Does your vision statement still represent you and what you were hoping to achieve effectively, or does your vision statement need tweaking a little bit? Same with your business plan. And there are obviously certain parts of a business plan. Some parts of your business plan might be great, but it's how it was executed this time that you think, well, maybe I could do things a little bit differently. Another thing that you might think of is the company's goals and objectives. Are they still current, or do they also need a transformation? The people that you work with, your team, your organization, your management structure, is that still effective? Is it still the people that you want to work with, that you enjoy working with? Or has it just become this big drain, and every day you're getting home after work and you're thinking, my God, I can't stand this anymore? Because coming out of hibernation or running an RTO in one of the most volatile regulatory environments in the country is always going to be difficult. So if you can't find a really big burn reason why you want to go to work every day, it's going to make it hard for you. And if you can't make, if you're finding it hard, then your clients are going to start seeing that eventually too. They're going to lack motivation, or they just won't come to you because they want to feel happy about the educational journey that they're going on. So if you're sitting there hating your RTO and it's no longer who you are and what you want, maybe it's time for you to go back to basics, and maybe it's time to get your house in order and just go back and let's set the foundation to be a little bit different so that it reflects the here and now rather than what it was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. What I'm trying to say here is that making sure that you get your house in order is probably the most fundamental part of getting your business off the ground or coming out of hibernation. The foundation is so important, and that's exactly what we're talking about when we say getting your house in order. We're talking about the foundations of your business. And if we can't get those right now, in 3, 6, 9 months' time, a year's time, when ASQA come knocking at the door, you're going to crumble because it's never been the plan that you wanted to implement. It's always been somebody else's plan. It's always been somebody else's vision. It's never been what you wanted to provide. And if it turns out, for example, that you can't provide your vision, that you can't provide the legacy that you wanted to provide, and that's something that you've identified over the last 6 to 12 months or 18 months, for example, while you've been in hibernation, or maybe your goals and vision has changed for your life, maybe your family circumstances have changed, maybe you can't commit as much as what you used to for your RTO. Or maybe you've just realized that, you know what, I'm sick of dealing with the stress and the pressure every single day that ASQA brings. I just want a life of peace and quiet, and I'm sick of being a business owner. I just want to go back to being an employee. Maybe that's your mindset too, but this is a perfect time to be contemplating all of those questions and what they mean for you and your RTO. Making sure that your foundation is sound and not at risk of collapse will be helped by you making a choice to do things differently this time, or to really look at it and be honest with yourself and say, this is not what I want anymore. Take a look at your organization and your team. Is it the right team that you need to move forward? I mean, there are some teams that have been in place for 10, 15 years, and those teams have worked really, really well for 10, 15 years. But all of a sudden, the company direction is starting to change. And maybe that company direction is not going to be suitable for these other people. Or maybe there's new people that you want to bring into the fold, and you really want to have a look at your organizational structure and see how they best fit. There's a whole range of things that you can do in terms of setting the foundation and getting your organization and team right. In terms of employment, in terms of contract work, in terms of volunteers, in terms of how it contributes to the community and the community contributes back to your business. What support group have you got around? Everybody needs a support crew. Even RTO Doctor needs a support crew. So what's yours? Have you got a support crew in place? I have a business mentor, I have a personal mentor, and I have a handful of friends, I can count them on one hand, who I can talk to when I'm feeling stressed or troubled, challenged, and I just don't know what the decision is that's right for me to do. These people have known me for many, many years and there's probably nothing they don't know about me. And so there is a level of trust and understanding with those people when I have a conversation with them that is true and honest and meaningful, and I can go to them and I can say, you know, I feel like this is just not working for me anymore. And they'll say, well, this has been happening in your business. This has been happening in your business. How do you feel about that? Well, maybe that thing there has just got to the point where it's too much and you value time and relationships far more than you enjoy your work, and that's who you are as a person. And so they might recommend to you that it's time to move on. They might recommend that it's time to stay. But have you got the right support crew around to help you, not just to help you, but when you need it? And have you got a backup plan if things go wrong? I see many RTO owners, and I've spoken to many RTO owners over the years about having a backup plan. Now, a backup plan is not just in the event of if they were to die tomorrow, if they were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, who would look after the RTO? Would there be somebody who has access to all the passwords, and would they know what your wishes are for the RTO? Is there like some will in place? You know, all those things that you need to consider when you die, not just in that circumstance, but also in terms of as an exit strategy. Some people just want to sell their RTO and be able to move on into a different industry. And so sometimes we need to consider, what is our exit strategy going to be? Or, you know, I know, for example, a couple of RTO owners that have been an RTO for as long as you could be an RTO. And on most days, all I hear from them is how much they hate it now. They wish they could have got out years ago. They wish this, they wish that. And they really despise rocking up to work every day. They've just had enough. They're ready for retirement, but they've got nothing else to go to because they didn't consider the foundation being solid and having all their eggs in one basket. But also they didn't have an exit plan in place earlier in the piece, so that when they made that decision, or they could feel intuitively that it just wasn't working for them anymore, they could just move on and hand over the business to someone else or sell it or so forth. So what I want to say to you is that when you go back to basics and you really look at getting your house in order, I don't just mean all the training and assessment materials and all the policies and procedures, because we will get to that over the next few days. What I'm really talking to you about is what is deep inside of you. What's going to make you get out of bed on a Monday morning and keep going through the week on Friday afternoon where hell is happening. Everybody's giving you the shits and you just don't want to deal with anybody anymore. The students aren't paying their fees. The staff aren't doing as they're told. You've got an ASQA audit coming next week and you know that you're not compliant. You don't have enough money to make sure that everything's done in the next week, and so you just pray and cross your fingers. If you're sick of living that life, what's next? And that's sometimes what going back to basics is about. It's about questioning those things inside of us that keep us going. And I really hope that this Sunday night, this 30 days, 30 tips has helped you to really contemplate some of them. You know, then there are some really hard questions that we ask ourselves often, and I read this book every now and again when I'm feeling like I need a little bit of a kick up the backside. It's called 30 Days of Being You, or Being the Best You Can Be, or something along those lines. And every day I just randomly pick a page and I read what's on that page. A couple of days ago, I came up with a page, and it has troubled me ever since. And it's troubled me because the questions that came up are just so meaningful and deep that I'm not sure that I can understand. I do understand them. I'm not sure that I can be honest enough with myself yet to answer them fully. And so I'm going to share them with you because I think at this particular time, talking about getting your house in order and reviewing what it is you've created, whether you're still happy with it, whether you have decided you want to do something different. I think this is a real opportunity for us to contemplate who we are and where we want to go, because of course if you don't ask yourself where you want to go, you'll never know when you get there. Isn't that the saying? So these questions really threw me when I first read them, and I think that they're really important questions to be contemplating, very deep questions when we consider is this business still aligned with who you are and what you want to achieve, what you want to put out there? Is it still consistent with the goals and objectives and the vision statement that you had? Has it changed? And it's not bad that it has or it hasn't changed. It's just an opportunity to reflect on it. So I'm going to share the questions with you, and then I'm going to say goodnight. I'm also going to put the questions into the comments so that you can really think about them. And I would love to hear the answers that you have to some of these questions, but I anticipate that, like me, you're going to struggle with them for the first few days. So here they are. The questions were, what could you yet be? What holds you back? What do you fear? Where is your love? What gives you hope? And how will you be remembered? There's some pretty tough questions, aren't they? I have quite honestly spent hours just thinking about some of the answers to those questions and how I don't think I can properly answer any of them. But I tell you what, they keep me up at night and they keep me thinking, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? And so trying to implement the following day, the following week, and the following month, and so forth. And if I can always answer those questions and be true to myself, and I can always live the life that I want to live on purpose, then life should be so much easier, and our RTO and what we do in public should be so much easier as well. Thank you so much for listening tonight. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend, and we look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.